what is currently going on in Ukraine is they are trying to finally end this thing. But they say that the point of contention, according to Zelensky, like it's his fucking decision, says Ukraine territory most difficult issue as U.S. envoy prepares to meet Putin. And from what has been reported by ABC News and a few other publications, Russia has just taken over 2 more Ukrainian cities, despite Ukraine denying that that's what's happened. It is unquestionably something that could have ended within a matter of days.
It never would have happened if we had actually been and Ukraine was abiding by the Minsk agreements. None of this needed to happen. Contrary to what they're trying to tell people, that Russia is seeking to take over Ukraine. Putin doesn't want to have control over a country that doesn't want to be controlled. He doesn't want that. This happened because the Nazi element in Western Ukraine has been persecuting and creating, having violence against the Russian-speaking portion of Ukraine. And the Russian-speaking portion of Ukraine wanted and voted to be part of Russia. And instead, Ukraine, who had originally agreed to that, said, nah, we're not going to do that. And then the next thing you know, NATO and us are like putting our weapons and all of our military on the border and saying we're going to do some exercises. Yeah. So, none of this had to happen. Definitely. But it was very profitable.
President Zelensky has said Kiev's priorities in peace talks to end the war with Russia are maintaining Ukraine's sovereignty and securing strong security guarantees. Zelensky said the territorial issue is the most difficult, as Russia continues to demand that Ukraine give up areas of the eastern Donbas region that it still holds, which Kiev maintains it will never do. He was speaking after meeting French President Emmanuel Macron, who I will get to by the weekend, in Paris, where he joined a call with European leaders, including those of the UK, Germany, Poland, and Italy. Meanwhile, Ukraine and U.S. negotiators finished 2 days of meetings in Florida as they work to revise a peace plan viewed as favoring Russia.
There's no other way this is ending. The only reason that Russia is continuing along is because Ukraine, via Ukraine, keeps fighting back. And so Russia inevitably is advancing, but they would have ended this a long time ago. Boris Johnson had the opportunity and went in there and totally sold,
within like the first week.
Yeah. And he's like, nah, we're going to keep this going. So it was very profitable. I bet he has stock options. But so,
look into BlackRock, look into State Street, look into Vanguard. Private equity will be the death of capitalism if it isn't already.
Yeah, Russia is not losing this. Not only are they not losing it, and yes, they will suffer more casualties. They will do that, but not anywhere near the rate as what's happening on the Ukrainian side. And they are only going to advance. Okay, Crimea, the Donbass, the areas that they took, not going back to Ukraine. It's never going to happen at this point. Ukraine isn't even a real country. It's another one of those make-believe countries that we drew up that is one of the most corrupt, if not the most corrupt country on the planet, run by Nazis.
The White House struck a positive tone on the talks on Monday, today, with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying the administration feels very optimistic about a deal being reached to end the war. Zelensky was more circumspect, posting on X that the talks were very constructive, but there are some tough issues that still have to be worked through. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Zion-Nazi, who attended the talks with the Ukrainian delegation, is now bound for Russia, where he will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. They will be joined by the Donald son-in-law, Jared Kushner, the person who you believe is the brains of the entire Trump operation.
In Gaza, for sure.
Sure. Witkoff has spoken with Zelensky, Macron, Ukrainian chief negotiator Rustem Umerov, and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and is expected to relay the result of the discussions to Putin. Last week said in a draft peace plan has been shown by the Americans to Russia, and that it could become the basis for a future agreement to end the war. The initial U.S.-Russia draft peace plan circulated in November sparked consultation in Kiev and around Europe. As well as being heavily slanted toward Moscow's demands, it also dictated how several billions worth of frozen Russian assets currently held in European financial institutions should be invested and dictated in terms of Kiev's access to EU markets. So again, what does that tell you? You think that the people are going to benefit from this? This is no different than who is going to benefit from stealing all of the oil in Venezuela. Who's benefiting from that? Do we live in a country where our imperialism ever benefits the average citizen? No. This is an oligarchic fascist monopoly that is running the world. And we're still sitting around twiddling with our thumbs, square up our ass, and not willing to actually stop this because, again, it is a united working class front that is needed. There is no other way. You will never see any tangible benefit. And the only people who are suggesting that any of this is actually good are people that are being paid to say it. Now, we're very well aware of all of the shit libs and conservative cucks, if you want to call them that are being paid by the establishment to spout these talking points against Ukraine or Russia, more so Russia, and then, of course, Venezuela, and, of course, the Palestinians. For what purpose? Money and power, that's all it ever was, that's all it ever will be. And if you still can't see it, keep watching our channel. Maybe you'll get it at some point. Jen, your thoughts?
I mean, I don't even understand why we still have NATO. I mean, I understand why we have NATO, but we don't need it. So to me, the whole exercise in that, I have said it a million times. I don't understand why we find Russia to be an enemy. Even if our beef was the Soviet Union and communism, clearly that's not them anymore. So I don't understand how the country that ended World War II with us is our enemy in the first place. So that I don't understand. So why do we need NATO? We don't. And that's the biggest problem. So us even having NATO to me is very provoking and incendiary to Russia, as it should be. Why in the world does the entire European bloc and us need to be like joined together against them? For what reason? What have they done that warrants that? So it's one of those things that's not based on evidence and reason. It's based on fear mongering and propaganda. And so I don't support things that are based on fear mongering and propaganda. So
I definitely agree. And once again, what we are going to see, because I do believe the Ukraine war, the conflict, because there was no declaration of war, what I do see in terms of its conclusion is going to be exactly what we talked about almost 4 years ago. It's going to be exactly as we expected.
Yes.
It didn't have to exist. But you know what did end up happening over the last 4 years, guys? You know what did happen? A whole bunch of innocent people got killed, and a whole bunch of oligarchs got even richer.
Yes. And let's not forget, I've said it before, I'm half Russian. I have my great grandma's shawl that she used to wear framed from Russia that was one of the few things that they took when they left during the pogroms. And I have that hanging on my wall. So like I did my DNA, like I'm Russian. So I don't understand the beef. I don't.
Well, the beef isn't what you think. It's not beef. What we have are pierogies. Do you like pasta with potato inside?
Of course. Of course. You know I like all the starches.
Well, that's exactly why you're Russian, because it's in your blood. Unfortunately, you don't really drink vodka. That's not necessarily your drink of choice. But you come to our country and remember how tough we are. We are much tougher than Americans. You know why? Because we lost 30 million people in World War II. You lost 500,000. And it's so constructed, the constructed conflict between us and Russia. It's like a Rocky IV episode to these people.
It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense. Both China and Russia have said on multitudes of occasions that they want to be allies with us, that they want to get along with us, that they want to work with us. Russia originally wanted to join NATO. Like this is like this made up thing so that we can just create huge amounts of profits for the military industrial complex. Like it's not based on any reality.
I mean, it's all pretty common sense at this point. You can't look around and not recognize what this all is. And if he dies, he dies.
They're just not a threat to us. I'm not singing praises of Putin. I don't know what their country is like for the people that I really don't. I know that we do not have a leg to stand on regarding anything. So whatever it is that they do or don't do, that's not of concern to me. They don't do anything to threaten us. They don't do anything to threaten us. They've never done anything to threaten us. I don't like, this is so silly.
They've done plenty to threaten us. What are you talking about? The whole concept of capitalism could have been ended if the Soviet Union was able to collect the necessary share of countries. And again, when people say
this is not the Soviet Union, I understand that. We're not talking about the Soviet Union. We're talking about Russia. And Russia historically has not been a threat to us. What are we defending ourselves from? What is it?
The closest threat, or actually the only real threat, if you really think about it, to the United States of America is Israel.
Yes, that's the biggest threat to the planet right now. Well, us and Israel.
And we, of course, were attacked and nothing ever happened.